Welcome. Today we will be discussing about the tools and techniques of business ethics management and the roles of various agencies in ensuring ethics in corporation. Before we begin up with the topic, let us first understand why business ethics management is important. Business ethics, as we have seen from the previous discussions, have become so important for smooth running of the business now, so important for the image management or reputation management of the business in the mind of the stakeholders at large now, because the stakeholders are always trying to keep a watch on how the business is doing what and what it is giving as an outcome. Business ethics, the practice of business ethics within an organization cannot be left to the chance, and it has to be managed properly by the corporate. That's why business ethics management has become very important, because business houses constantly are facing questions like what care is it taking of its employees, what is the nature of its relationship with its suppliers, have it taken care of the environment processes, like is it polluting the environment, does it pay its employees well, are the employees following ethical practices while in the business, are the top managers ethical enough. So these type of questions are constantly being asked, and the organizations get surveyed upon these questions. To answer to these questions in a proper way and to see that the business follows ethical practices and principles which guides its business practices, in the present juncture business ethics management has become very important, and it has given a whole new rise to a whole new field of professions where we find ethics professionals, ethics advocates, ethics consultants, ethics managers who help the organization in managing the ethics properly. So let us now look into the modules of today's discussion. Today we will be discussing on tools and techniques of ethics management and role of various agencies in ensuring ethics in corporation. The discussion is adapted from the book of Crane and Matten by Oxford University Press. This whole discussion will be through 5 modules. In module 1, we are going to understand what is business ethics management and the role of various agencies in ensuring ethics in corporation. In module 2, we are going to understand setting standards of ethical behavior. In module 3, we will understand managing stakeholder relations. Module 4, assessing ethical performances, and module 5, organizing for business ethics management. So let us begin with the first module, which discusses about what is business ethics management. So business ethics management is the direct attempt to formally or informally manage ethical issues or problems through specific policies, practices, and programs. So the 3 words are very important: through specific policies, practices, and programs. If there are only policies and no practices and programs, then the ethics the way the ethics management is done may not be proper. If there are only practices and programs, but those are not guided by sound policies in place, then also people don't have guidelines of what is expected in the organization and how it is answering to the needs of the stakeholders. So, the management of ethical issues and problems through specific policies, practices, and programs are these three together define properly the business ethics management, and it is a direct attempt by the organization to formally manage or informally manage ethical issues. How the organizations are dealing with business ethics management, what are the steps taken to manage ethics properly, varies from organizations to organization, and till date there is no such concrete research done which shows like these are the exact steps written for business ethics management. What we present over here are collections or results of surveys done from various organizations and listing of some of the practices which are being followed by various organizations in the process of business ethics management. So, let us see what these practices are. First, the first step of business ethics management, if you see, is missions or value statements. Second, it's the codes of ethics. Third, reporting or advice channels. Fourth, risk analysis and management. Fifth, ethics managers, officers and committees. Sixth, ethics consultants. Seventh, ethics education and training. Eighth, stakeholder consultation, dialogue, partnership programs. And 9, auditing, accounting and reporting. We will discuss each of these steps separately, or each of these components separately, and then we will try to find the linkages also between these components if possible, to which may show also the seriousness of the organization towards business ethics management. When we are talking of missions or value statements, these are in the missions or value statement of the organization, what it wants to be, these are statements which focuses on, which like expresses what the organization wants to be or what it wants to do and what it is meant for, what is the purpose of the organization. So, mission and value statement, these business ethics issues may also be ingrained by stating we want to be the best retailer by providing best of goods at reasonable rate to the society at large. If we are talking of this way, then maybe we are hinting towards certain fair price, that we will be dealing with good quality of products, and maybe our products are designed for the society where many people can access it. So, these type of wordings, if written, or we want to give the best services by following the best practices within. These type of words, if written, shows like the company is geared towards following certain ethical practices in the way that they produce their goods or services, and also their intention to deliver quality goods and services to the society at large without providing much harm to the society or to the environment. So these type of things, if mentioned, shows to certain extent the orientation of the organization towards business ethics. However, it doesn't guarantee that the organization is truly following these things or managing ethics properly within the organization in its various processes. So many things could be written in value statement, in mission and vision statement, but whether they are truly followed within the organization needs to be investigated to understand what the organization is telling it is doing, is exactly doing it or not. Second, to check like whether the organization is actually trying to follow what it has expressed like it is doing, whether it is actually doing that or not, that can be cross checked from the second component that is mentioned of business ethics management, that is the codes of conduct that are followed in the organization. We will be discussing the codes of conduct or the codes of ethics in details in the next few slides. The third important, so whether the codes of ethics are well written or not, what are the different codes of ethics written, what different, with what explicit level it is written or not, these things will also tell the seriousness of the organization towards the business ethics management. Third important component that we have over here is reporting or advice channels. So if we study this, it is not only enough to have a code of ethics written, but again it has to be understood whether it is truly followed or not. If it is truly followed within the organization, then there must be some reporting channels or advice channels through which how to act on the code of ethics, how to follow it properly, and if any like discrepancy is found in anyone's behavior, then how it is reported back. The study of these information channel will show like it is not only written as a code of ethics, but it is getting followed in the organization also. Risk analysis and management shows like what is the system there in place to analyze the risk involved and how the organization is managing it. When we are talking of the risk involved, we are not only focusing into the financial risk involved of the decision per se, but also whether the organization takes care of the ethical risk involved and how does it plan to manage it, whether there is some institutional system in place to look after, to audit for what are the ethical risks involved in the decisions taken and the alternatives chosen for executing certain actions, and how the organization is thinking of managing it. Whether next component, whether there are ethics managers, officers and committees formed in the organization to deal with the things like risk analysis and management, to see the ethics principles and practices are followed properly, the reporting channel is open properly, to write down a detailed code of ethics. So, whether there is a formal body within the organization, people who are there to take care of these issues. These shows again the seriousness of the organization towards business ethics management. If a position is there, some person is there in that role of as ethics managers, officers and committee is there to deal with the ethical issues and dilemmas that are faced by the organizations, then we can understand, like when some institutionalized processes are there, we can understand, we get a hint of the how serious the organization is about business ethics management. However, it depends also on the size of the organization and resource capacity of the organization to formulate a get a different position as ethics managers, officers and committees, but then we have to cross check with the role responsibility given to some officers, whether they also have to take care of ethical issues or not. So, if there is a separate role created, then we can understand it prominently, but if there is no such separate role created due to some constraints, mainly resource constraints faced by the organization, then we can think of for the existing managers or leaders, whether this also is a part of their role responsibility or not. Ethics consultants, whether there are consultants from outside who are regularly external consultants who are coming in to advise the organizations about the ethical dilemmas, ethical problems that could be there in the process of their doing the business, and help them to solve the problem. So, why the ethics consultants are there? So, this could be in some organizations, maybe there is no internal systems roles like ethics managers, officers and committees. In that organization, ethics consultants can come to advise the organization about proper ethics management. In some organization, both the internal system and the external consultants may work together to find out some ways of proactively find out some issues that may crop up in future, or how to address best to the demands of the society, needs of the society and other stakeholders, how to take care of the networked relationships of the stakeholders and the stakeholder of stakeholders, how to deal with these complexity, and so that they are doing the right thing in the right way. Next, what we see is, we have already discussed about this when we are talking of corporate citizenship behavior. when we were talking of corporate accountability and transparency in the last discussion, like stake the involving the stakeholder more in the business processes through stakeholder consultation, dialogue and partnership programs. So what is the frequency of these programs? How open the organization is to accommodate the suggestions given by the stakeholders, how they are proactive enough to consult the stakeholders, take their views in the different ways of doing their business, will show how will show the eagerness of the organization for business ethics management, and in what way they are trying to connect to the stakeholders to know from them what are their expectations from the organization, and trying to work out measures to answer to that expectations. Accounting, auditing and reporting are also the important part of business ethics management, because accounting, auditing, accounting and reporting shows the evaluation part of whether we have managed ethics properly or not. Till point 8 are things that are done to manage ethics. Point 9, when you are talking of auditing, accounting and reporting, this shows the eagerness of the organization, not only shows the eagerness of the organizations, but it also shows like whether the organization have done properly through all the steps that it promised that it would be doing. Out of these three terms written, auditing, accounting and reporting, we can take accounting as a superset of which auditing and reporting are the two subsets. So auditing is where we try to put a checklist, we try to find out what are the actual practices followed in the organization, compare it with the practice that is desired or practice that was promised it would be following. So the audit helps us to understand the gap between the promised and the desired policies and practices and the actual policies and practices that have been followed, the programs that have been followed, and the gap, and or either the gap or whether in some cases they have truly followed it or not. And we need to talk of reporting. This is reporting these things in a proper format, and together these things are, when it means we are taking in account of, we are accounting for the activities done and trying to see whether it has been according to some set standards or not. With this, we will move forward to the discussion, detailed discussion of some of the topics mentioned over here, like the codes of ethics, and then stakeholders management, then assessing of the things like whether accounting and auditing and reporting have been done properly or not. If before we move to the detailed discussion of the some of the important components of business ethics management, let us see into the evolution of business ethics management. So, in some cases, it has been found that there is either nothing or something, and or some of them use all. So, there is a variety in the way people are following business ethics management, and also there has been a shift in focus of how people are focusing towards business ethics management. In earlier cases, the managing, it was mainly focused towards managing of employees. From there, the focus have now shifted to seeing how management is taking care of its broader social responsibilities. So, there is a shift in idea of what we understand by what we have to manage. In earlier cases, it was managing the employees properly, to see that they follow what are expected by them from the organization. Now, the emphasis has shifted to some broader concept of understanding whether the organization is managing properly the demands given from the society and other stakeholders at large, and how it is doing, in what way to answer to these demands. So, now we will move to the detailed discussion of the codes of ethics. Thank you.